What is up? Welcome to WireTapped, our weekly waiver wire show, week 11 in the books. And as we head into week 12, between bye weeks, injuries, and one very significant suspension, this could be the most important week of waivers on the entire season. There are just 2, maybe 3 games left to get you to the fantasy playoffs. Josh and I are here to help you. Let's see what we can do. What is up? Good morning. Welcome to WireTapped, Club Fantasy's weekly waiver wire show. I am your host, Ryan Weiss. With me, as always, for this adventure, Josh Hudson. Josh, how you doing today?
Great.
Better than
I don't always love when the Cowboys win, but when they help me win some money, I'm happy about it. So,
yeah, Josh cashing out on some parlays. Apparently, all you had to do was take overs on Dallas and unders on the Raiders, and that was the easy way to get an edge.
Yeah, man. Like it pains me to watch Ashton Genty play football because the Raiders' offensive line, and quite frankly, their entire offense is so bad. So bad.
I feel like all of us at some point said this. I didn't buy in as much as the group, but I'm going to give Joe Zolo credit, which is easier to do when he's not live with us. Joe was really adamant that Raiders offensive line was so bad, it was going to be a tough season for Genty. And I'm not saying you didn't say it too. You very much did. We're just seeing it in practice because you'll never convince me Ashton Genty is not a good running back. He's just being wasted this rookie season.
Yeah, and it just makes zero sense. Like, why are you spending a top 7 pick on a running back when you have that many holes around you?
And then it goes back to Josh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it goes back to we dreamed of Genty ending up in Chicago. And while Chicago has been weird, oh my God, what a landing spot that would have been for Genty this
Yeah,
season.
because like they spent time to get, surrounding offensive players. Like they added draft picks there. They added beef on the offensive line in the offseason, free agency trades, all those things that you do to set up a new coordinator coming in and a young quarterback protecting him, etc. The Raiders said, let's just get the piece and then we'll figure out where we need to make improvements. It's like they're working backwards, and that's what sets the timetable back.
Yep. Good morning to the chat. Caesar, Harry, Keenan, see you guys in there. Make sure you drop those questions you guys know. We will get to every single one of them. Before we jump in, I will remind you to do all the things you can do to help us grow as a podcast. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. If you feel like your question's being ignored for too long, if you're on YouTube, we do offer super chat. You throw us a few bucks, we answer the question faster for you. And if you want to talk fantasy after this show is over, we are always over on our Discord channel, completely free Discord. We talk fantasy football, obviously, but we also talk other fantasy sports. We help you with waivers. We help you with DFS. A lot going on over there. Before we get to the chat, let's kick this show off with the NFL news and notes. And it was a far more eventful Monday evening than it was Sunday. So Michael Penix, we alluded to this on yesterday's show, is placed on the IR with a knee injury. Josh has in the notes here, we are working through the medical process to determine the severity of the knee injury. Josh, did you happen to catch, is it the same knee? Have we figured that out yet?
That I haven't even seen what knee it is. I just know that it's whatever injury that he suffered, that he missed the game that Kirk Cousins started. It's that knee because it's a re-aggravation of the bone bruise.
Of the previous injury. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
So I don't know if it's the same knee, like that same left knee that he had the 2 ACL surgeries on or what.
Yeah. Amari DiMercato suffers a high ankle sprain, unlikely to play Sunday. Jamar Chase. Not like you needed him in week 12. Went ahead and spit on Jalen Ramsey. He is going to be suspended a single game for that. He is appealing, and there should be a decision before Sunday. Josh, it is a situation where if they didn't make a decision before Sunday, he would be allowed to play, and then the suspension would get pushed a week, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through this. More than likely, you'll have a decision before Sunday. Josh Jacobs could potentially play this Sunday. He is suffering a knee contusion. Washington has cut kicker Matt Gay. It's been a weird season for Washington across the board. They claim Jake Moody, the former 49ers kicker, off the Bears practice squad. And Justin Fields is officially benched. Tyrod Taylor will start Sunday's game. Josh, none of this is like damningly significant, to be perfectly honest. Penix wasn't playing that well, but certainly Kirk Cousins is a step back. We spent a lot of time on yesterday's show about that. Losing Jamar Chase sucks, but at least it's just one game. It could obviously be way worse. I don't know that there's a ton of fantasy relevance in this week's news. Maybe Jets pass catchers, whoever they are, get a bump up now that we finally see Tyrod Taylor.
I mean, honestly, though, I'm not even sure if that's the case. Like,
yeah,
Tyrod Taylor, better accuracy, sure. Doesn't throw the deep ball as well as.
No, I think this helps Mason Taylor, and that's about it.
That's exactly my point. Yeah, I think it helps Mason Taylor the most. They basically put Adonai Mitchell in the Garrett Wilson role, in his first game, which, hey, is great for what we kind of talked about on Tuesday and Wednesday last week, but couldn't catch anything.
No,
because Field can't throw the ball accurately. So,
boy, John Mechie, who finds the end zone,
completely overlooked that one.
Yeah. What's funny is
you're talking about Tyler Johnson. He got goose-egged.
Josh, when he scored, I remembered we had spent the entire week talking about, well, they need to audition Adonai Mitchell. Well, guess what? They needed to audition John Mechie too, and I think he might have passed that audition. So
I believe so, yeah.
You love to see it. You know what? Before we jump into my waiver picks, there's just a few questions. Let's knock out the chat before we jump into my top 5 waivers for the week. Harry Brooks, morning. PPR league needs to add 1 for the rest of the season. Michael Wilson, Christian Watson, Jacoby Myers, Luther Burton, or Kayshon Boutte. Josh, when I look over this list, Christian Watson is obviously the highest among my top 5 waiver picks. I still think there's an argument made for Kayshon Boutte, and of this group, he has the best quarterback.
Yeah, Boutte definitely has the best quarterback. The way that the Jaguars have incorporated Jacoby Myers, I believe he has 8 catches for 105 yards through 2 games already. I think he belongs up there as well. To me, Christian Watson's still that number 1 guy.
Yeah.
Granted, Jordan Love is not Drake May, but there's so many pieces. Yeah, there's so many more pieces, I think, in that Patriots passing offense. So I'm going to rate them Watson, Boutte, Myers, and then I would probably go Wilson and Burton.
Yep.
Now, I'm not discounting Wilson because, and we'll talk about Jacoby Brissett here later in the show, he's doing what he's doing because Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, first and foremost. But at the amount of attempts that Jacoby Brissett is being afforded right now, it's going to trickle down, and I think there's still going to be some room for production from Michael Wilson. You're just not going to get 185 yards every week.
Yeah, ain't that the damn truth. Traded JJ McFarty, our show man, Aaron Jones and Geno in Superflex for Genty, and still feel good about it. Yeah, why would you? First of all, it's Dynasty. Obviously, it's funny, Josh. You give up 2 quarterbacks, but they're 2 great quarterbacks, and you got a great young running back. I think that's a big win for Caesars.
I think it's a huge win. Like, people, and this is the thing with Superflex. People will overvalue starting quarterbacks because they're quarterbacks. And quite frankly, more often than not, they do just their floor is higher than a normal flex player, right? But as we've seen with Geno, as we've seen with McCarthy, that floor is also 7 points. I can get that from a backup tight end. So, like, if I flip this around and you're trading 2 backup tight ends in Aaron Jones for Ashton Genty, you'd be like, why on earth would I trade Ashton Genty? Right?
Exactly.
Again, people overvalue quarterbacks in Superflex, and it's okay to take advantage of that.
I'm guessing the trade partner had to be a Vikings fan. You acquired McCarty and
Aaron but I Jones. Think with McCarthy, there's still enough room for improvement that people are like, look, I've got to be patient.
Yeah. Guess what? Same thing for Ashton Genty.
Well, also that, yeah.
Quincy, would we drop JD5 if you have Lamar and Purdy? Absolutely, Josh. I debated putting him on the list this week. Me and you have been of the accord. He's not playing again this season. They're on bye this week. He's not going to play again this season. I'm absolutely making that drop.
Yeah, they have 3 wins.
Yeah.
3 wins. And it's what? They're what, 3-8?
And at no point,
you're not making the playoffs right now. Dallas's defense looks better. Straight up. I understand they played the Raiders. They looked better. Like, they're going to get tested this week. They play the Eagles.
Zolo.
Well, I mean, look, I'm calling a spade a spade. And it's not even so much that the back end of the defense looks better. Deron Bland played better, sure, but they don't have a true number one, right? So Bland has not been tested. But Quentin Williams, 1.5 sacks already. They got Overshawn back. You add linebackers now. They're adding pieces that, it will take time for them to gel. Sure, this was a good test because the Raiders are so bad, but they're going to have more challenging opponents on the schedule. So time will tell, sure. But what I'm saying is they look better. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah. Keenan, do we think Tootin is going to split carries with ETN? Is it worth dropping Brian Robinson for him? If I don't have CMC, I'm okay with making this drop. If I have Christian McCaffrey, having Brian Robinson as that insurance policy, Josh, is way more important to me.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I do think that in a vacuum, Tootin probably has more standalone value than Brian Robinson.
Fair
again, I can't speak for certain whether or not they're going to split carries the rest of the season, but this is kind of what Liam Cohen seemingly wants to do is split carries. Like it's kind of what, it's what he did in Tampa last year with Bucky and, Rashad White, or Bucky and Sean Tucker, whichever combo you want to do. I think really it's just been how quickly can Tootin figure out the offense, because he's got all the athletic ability in the world.
Yep.
Seems like he figured it out.
Well, and they started running some crazy plays this week too. They were running more Wildcat with Travis Etienne and Tootin in the backfield with them. Like, they were doing some really fun stuff in Jacksonville this week.
Again, they kind of have to do because the wide receiver room is so decimated right now. They're down their top 2 wide receivers.
You have all slot wide receivers. So
exactly.
Quincy, what do we think about Tillman with Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback? Do we think he's a sneaky play? Josh, I didn't think we were going to talk about Tillman until later in the show, and I expected pushback from you because I do think he's a sneaky play. 4 targets this week, catches 3 balls for 55 yards. I like him in this week 12 kind of desperation play. I wonder what you feel about him.
These are my notes on Cedric Tillman. Have you seen Shedeur Sanders throw a football? You want quite literally no part of that Browns passing offense.
As soon as I
These are my notes.
As soon as I put him on the list, Josh, I knew we were having this.
Look, I love Cedric Tillman. I do. I've been preaching him for a while that he's better than Jerry Jeudy. If you're looking at the Browns offense, he is the wide receiver 1 in my opinion.
I agree.
Shedeur Sanders can't throw the football.
It's rough.
It is so bad. If Dylan Gabriel's the quarterback, okay. Sneaky start, decent floor, 6 to 8 points, whatever. Cool in PPR. Don't love it, but again, he's got to score. Shedeur can't throw the football.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it this week.
That's fair. Keenan, what QB are we looking at with Bo Nix? Keenan, I'm going to ask you to wait till a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about quarterbacks. I'll quickly throw names at you. I'm just not going to give you a ton of analysis. My favorite right now, Josh mentions Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett also makes my list. Joe Flacco's out there in a lot of leagues because I think people are scared of Joe Burrow coming back. And I think Tyler Shugg might actually be a play this week, but more on that a little bit later. Quincy Davis, would you drop Hunt or Spears for Singletary or Tucker? I think Spears for one of those two is fine with me, Josh. Kareem Hunt is a must add in my book.
Kareem Hunt should not be on waivers because right now he is the starting running back. Pacheco being out, inconsistent. Hunt is their red zone guy. He's the one that's scoring touchdowns. He's getting usage. They really haven't unleashed Brashard Smith the way that a lot of us kind of want. Hunt is their guy, and they're kind of leaning on their veterans in this Chiefs offense, which, quite frankly, is probably the biggest reason why they're 5-5. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Xavier Worthy, they spent a first-round pick on. What has he done the last month?
Since Rashee Rice came back, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Andy Reid is one of the greatest play callers in NFL history and can't figure out how to get a guy open with 4.2 speed. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Coaching malpractice.
It's a problem, folks. When Joseph first put this question in, I keep reading it as Stream Hunter, like he's hunting for stream, but he's saying, do I stream Hunter Henry or Dalton Schultz with Gadsden on bye? Josh, Hunter Henry has Cincinnati. He has Drake May. It's Hunter Henry all day for me.
I don't hate it. I will say when it comes to Schultz, where are my notes at? He has over 10 fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. He's outplayed Hunter Henry straight up.
Oh, absolutely. They're right next to each other in my rankings.
Yeah.
I think you play Schultz for floor, Henry for ceiling.
That's fair. I mean, you're not getting a huge ceiling with Hunter Henry unless he scores 2 touchdowns, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Cincinnati can't cover, anybody really, but I don't know. I don't see how you don't go Schultz personally.
That's fair. KJ Frederick, can we prioritize these wide receivers based on matchup? So he has all the guys that we're going to talk about for waivers anyway. Josh, this is, again, there's a lot more going on here than just matchup, Frederick. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even name all of these matchups off the top of my head right now, although I probably could if I tried. To me, Josh, this comes down to Wilson or Booty, plain and simple. They have great matchups. But if Marvin Harrison is playing and Kayshon Boutte is playing, I'm playing Boutte against Cincinnati. Again, I'm picking on that matchup.
Yeah, and Cincinnati just lost Cam Taylor-Britt, too, who's their best corner. So a bad pass defense got even worse.
Yeah.
That said, if Jamar Chase is out, like if the appeal is upheld, Yoshivas gets really interesting, likely going against Marcus Jones in that New England secondary.
It's a really good point. So if you're looking purely on matchup, it's Boutte and then it's probably Yoshivas.
Yeah.
But again, Chase is almost certainly suspended. Michael Wilson, everybody's going to jump on this. I addressed it in my article. We'll get to that here in a couple seconds. I think he's a little bit of a trap, Josh. Obviously, you're going to have some counterpoints for that, so we'll talk more about that later. But I would say prioritize them, assuming everybody's healthy. I would say prioritize Boutte, then Yoshivas. And when I say everybody's healthy, I'm including Marvin Harrison in everybody.
Yeah, I will say I don't think that, because even when his appendicitis creeped up, and obviously he had to go for the emergency appendectomy, they said that it could very well be a multi-week thing.
You're actually the one
I do think that Wilson likely is their top target this week as well. And it is against Jacksonville. Look, I know that Justin Herbert had issues. That's a cross-country flight for them, like cross-country.
Yeah.
Brissett doesn't seem to be bothered by that. He's a veteran. He's been there long enough. I think Wilson will still have a solid.
Justin Herbert has lived his entire life on the West Coast. Jacoby Brissett has lived his life all over this country because of the NFL. So I don't think it's going to bother him much. KJ Frederick again. Ferguson, Strange, or Fant. Josh, and KJ, you've watched the show enough that you know I'm not busting balls here. This is not a question to me. I understand Ferguson hasn't been great. He's still the best tight end and the best offense of this group. It's Jake Ferguson, and it's not particularly.
He scored a touchdown last night. Had over 10 fantasy points. That's what you want. I'll take it.
Like I said, all love their KJ, but don't overthink it when it comes to these tight ends. Quincy, pick one on waivers. Mooney, Boutte.
It's Boutte.
Yeah, or Matt Collins. I'm trying to figure this out. It's Kayshon Boutte. We're not a big fan of Drake London this week. I'm going to give you guys a quick break. We will be back to the chat. Let's go ahead and knock out the top 5 because that's where everything kind of needs to get started with this show. Every week, I put out an article on clubfantasyffl.com giving you my top 5 waiver ads. Last week, be perfectly honest with you, I did tell you guys waivers sucked. My waivers sucked. Tez Johnson took a backseat in this offense. Tyler Algier did score another touchdown, but all in all, it was a bad week. I kind of told you it was going to be a bad week. My top 5 this week is largely predictable with the absence of 2 players, and I'm actually going to start with this segment with what I said in my article. I am not prioritizing Sean Tucker, and I am not prioritizing Michael Wilson. And the reason for that is circumstances change. I've said it a million times. You do not get credit for last week's points. Bucky Irving is probably back. While Sean Tucker is certainly a better running back than Rachaad White, he is not a better running back than Bucky Irving. There will be a split. I just don't want to see you folks overpay for Sean Tucker, which is what it's going to have to happen after the week he had last week. Almost word for word, I can tell you the same thing about Michael Wilson. Marvin Harrison could be back, probably won't be. And I think Michael Wilson is a little bit of a play this week. But also Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 57 times. There's just so much there that is unpredictable. For what it is going to cost you, they are not worth the priority this week. Now, if you have the number 1 priority, I would go after the guys I'm about to mention first. but I do think those guys are still worth a shot. I'm not saying to avoid them. I'm just saying be reasonable. My top 5 this week, Juwan Johnson at tight end. I think he is a season saver with what he's doing at tight end right now. Christian Watson, Alec Pierce at wide receiver, and Emmanuel Wilson, Kenneth Gainwell at running back. Josh, let's start with Juwan Johnson because right now you have Rondé Gadsden on bye. I think we have some other decent tight ends on bye too as well, right? Zach Ertz on bye, and you shouldn't be relying on Evan Ingram, but also on bye. We've had these injuries recently at tight end. I think Juwan Johnson, Josh, who is the tight end 6 in points per game since 4 weeks ago and has gotten better since Tyler Shough took over. I think Juwan Johnson is a season saver for those who are streaming at tight end.
Yeah, I remember after, what was it, the 3rd week, we were just like, man, tired of waiting on this guy. And now he's right back up and
right where he was.
Right where he was. Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 straight games over 10 fantasy points. 4 straight.
Yep.
Like after 3 under 6. Hopefully this isn't like the dip again. But like you said, I mean, he scored in 2 straight as well. Tyler Shough seems to be looking his way. And really, that's what we need. Like young quarterbacks, they own in on tight ends.
And this
right?
is a team that moved off of Rashid Shaheed. They have Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson. That's it.
Yeah, those are the only 2. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest factor here is that by trading Rashid Shaheed, it opens up more targets and opportunities for Juwan Johnson that will help keep him viable for their offense as well as for our starting lineups in fantasy.
Yep. And then Christian Watson, Josh, me and you've been talking about him for 3 consecutive days now. His role is so defined and he does it better than anybody on the Green Bay Packers lineup. 19 yards per reception, finally finds the end zone last week, which Josh Hudson predicted 100%. And then, Josh, the matchup doesn't get much worse when you're going to Minnesota. This is still a nice spot, and now they may have a little trouble running the ball.
Yeah, the Josh Jacobs injury definitely opens things up even more for Christian Watson. I think even if Jacobs plays, you're going to see a lot more Emmanuel Wilson, which, hey, is fine. He's been viable for them when filling in the past, and even last year when Jacobs didn't miss any time, Emmanuel Wilson still averaged over 5 yards a carry, if I'm not mistaken. But Christian Watson, with the inconsistencies in that wide receiver room, Matthew Golden not being healthy, coming back, dealing with drops, rookie, ups and downs, whatever. Romeo Doubs can't catch a cold right now. Holy crap.
3 drops.
What do you have? Honest to God, it felt like 5 drops he had.
It was 3 I saw on Red Zone, so you might be right. So.
It was bad. Right now, Watson's their most trusted guy, especially with Tucker Kraft now out for the season.
Yeah.
And one thing that Minnesota struggles with on defense, they give up big plays.
Yep.
And Christian Watson is a walking big play. Do not be surprised if he catches a 30+ yard touchdown this week.
Yep.
And that's a what? 1 catch, 30-yard touchdown. That's an 11-point play right there.
Yeah. I'll quickly touch on the 2 running backs I'm recommending ahead of Sean Tucker. You can make an argument that Sean Tucker and Emmanuel Wilson are in the exact same spot. The difference is I'm pretty sure Emmanuel Wilson is starting this week. I'm pretty sure Sean Tucker is not starting this week. And Josh kind of hit it on the head. Tucker is Wilson is an interesting play. He has 3 games above 10 fantasy points this year as a backup. He's doing well catching the ball out of the backfield, and he found the end zone this past week. They're willing to use him there. If Josh Jacobs is out, Emmanuel Wilson is such a good week 12 play. He could not be ignored. Kenneth Gainwell, Josh, we've been back and forth on him this whole season, and obviously he had a really good game and kind of fell into the ether after that good game. The reason I think it's a little different this week is Jaylen Warren picked up an injury. He's probably fine, but he did pick up an injury. And Aaron Rodgers picked up an injury, which means this team is going to lean on the run, and they're not going to give all that work to Jaylen Warren. I think Kenneth Gainwell for the next 3 to 4 weeks has a very safe workload.
Yeah, they've been using him in the passing game, honestly, more than Jaylen
Warren.
Yeah, which has been really surprising. And I mentioned this, I can't remember where it was. It might have actually been on Monday or even Saturday. But, it's almost like Arthur Smith had defined roles going into this season.
Yeah.
And said...
You put a tweet out about this, actually.
Yeah, that's what it was. I put a tweet out about it. It's like, this is the hammer role that we wanted Caleb Johnson to have. That was Jaylen Warren, apparently, all along.
Yep.
And then it was fighting for who's going to be that backup. Well, when Caleb Johnson couldn't figure out the offense or figure out how to hang on to the football or hit a hole, that role became Kenneth Gainwell's.
Yep.
And Kenneth Gainwell has taken it and running with it. He had some solid games and seasons, if you will, with Philly, but he was never anything special. But he fits like a glove in this Arthur Smith offense, and he's doing exactly what Arthur Smith and the Pittsburgh Steelers want him to do. You get Mason Rudolph, who can't hit the broadside of a barn, throwing the football, standing 3 feet in front of it. Kenneth Gainwell is going to have opportunities, and so are every single one of these tight ends.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We saw Darnell Washington get off this week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He had a great catch and run. Oh, my God.
Angry run of the week. Yeah, made two corners his bitch. It was fun. All right, folks, you'll find the full article on these 5 players at clubfantasyffl.com. Reminder, my top 5 for the week are Juwan Johnson, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Emmanuel Wilson, and Kenneth Gainwell. And another quick reminder, this week, the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Commanders are all on bye. Why that matters is you need to watch your league's waiver wire tomorrow to see who gets dropped and see if anybody who is too good to get dropped gets dropped. It's a nice little way to get the edge on your league. Josh, let's get back to the chat. It is popping. Joseph in a Guillantine league. He has the most FAAB left with 226. Wild to me that that's the most FAAB at this point in the season. Usually there's 1 or 2 teams that just hoard. Most FAAB left with 226. Let's see if it's a full Guillantine league. Josh, what's that mean? There's 6 teams left right now.
It could be 7.
I think so. 6 or 7 teams left. Second highest is 56. Jonathan Taylor is on waivers. Do you drop what?
Yes.
That's all you have to do is one. If nobody
$1
else,
more.
$1
Nobody
more.
else can bid more.
Yep. Because I guarantee you second is dropping 156 on him. Yep. You drop 157 and just know that you're winning. That's the easiest decision you've ever made.
Oh, I had one league where Bijan, the manager who had Bijan Robinson, got chopped. I had literally $3 left. I said, fuck it. I'm putting all $3. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I definitely did not get him. But still.
Oh, okay. It's the worst story.
But that's my point is like whoever, like when you have big time players like that, whatever FAAB anybody has left, they're putting it on those players.
Joseph, let me just end this discussion with this.
You just have to bid $1 more than the next person.
If I made it this far and I had all $1,000 of my FAAB left, I still would put
all $1,000 on Jonathan Taylor.
I would put all 1,000, but I would do exactly. And someone else had 900. I would do 901. I'm not.
The price is right, baby.
Yeah, I'm winning this. Jonathan Taylor wins you the championship. Plain and simple.
Yep.
Go get him. KJ, any updates on Joe Mixon? I actually looked into this 2 weeks ago, Josh. No, last week, because I needed a roster spot and I was thinking about cutting him. Because in my Yahoo league, I can put out players on IR, and I've been wasting a spot on Mixon this whole time. From what I read, the most recent update, and I cannot tell you who it was from. I didn't do this much research because it was for my own team, not for broadcast. It said there have been no updates, and it is increasingly unlikely Joe Mixon plays this season.
Isn't that what we've been saying literally all season?
I mean, you and I have been saying that the whole time. I'm just saying this was from a Houston follower, newspaper type thing. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've been acting like Joe Mixon is not playing all season.
I am now officially on board with that. Joe Mixon is not playing this season. So KJ, if you're thinking about stashing, don't. If you need the roster spot, drop.
Clear it.
Yep. Mr. Beeks, traded Kincaid and a 1 and 2 twos for Christian McCaffrey in a full PPR tight AP dynasty. How do we feel about the trade? Josh, it's a lot.
It is a lot, but Christian McCaffrey is going to win you this season. So
Josh took it out of me.
This is a win now trade, and Christian McCaffrey is going to help you win. So you know what? If you don't win, then yeah, it's going to suck worse. But if you win, it's worth it.
I am making trades like that this week in my own dynasty. I'm notoriously the guy at Club Fantasy who says, fuck them picks. So I am good with this trade as long as it puts you in a spot to win this year.
Yep.
What are our thoughts on Jacoby Myers and Ricky Pearsall? Josh, I think you kind of touched on Myers, and I agree wholeheartedly. He seems to have quickly found his role in this offense. They knew what they were doing when they went out and got him. Jacoby Myers, I think, is a safe, maybe boring wide receiver 2 flex option for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I probably put Jacoby Myers about top 36, and I'd put Pearsall a little behind that. I've been saying this for years. The Kyle Shanahan offense has top 2 targets in any given week. and then maybe there's a third,
Yeah.
and then the fourth gets left behind. The problem is you don't know which one it's going to be in any given day. Some days it's going to be McCaffrey and Kittle like it was this past week, and then Jennings gets the scraps, and then Pearsall gets zeroed. Next week, it might be Jennings who gets zero.
Yep.
And Pearsall gets all the targets, and then Kittle gets the scraps, and then CMC is consistent. The only thing that I know in this offense in 2025 is CMC is consistent. That's it.
Yep.
Everybody else is up for grabs. So I'm not counting on Pearsall in a weekly format by any means. Jacoby Myers, I'm fine with because, again, they just lost Travis Hunter. BTJ has been inconsistent, and that's putting it mildly. And now is dealing with an injury that could creep up at any moment. We don't know if he's going to miss any more time with it. They floated the idea initially when it first happened about IR. He's already missed 2 games. So Jacoby Myers is going to have a role. This passing offense sucks. The good news for Jacoby Myers is that it's all about PPR, and that's what he's been his entire career.
Yep. No, I'm with that. I'm going to actually let Joseph cut the line real quick, Josh, because he says, does it matter that Lamb, Barkley, Javonte, Jamar are also out there? Jamar is interesting if you need a quarterback, but Jonathan Taylor is a game changer. So I have a league, Josh. I haven't shared this story on air yet. I have a league where my team is way too good. I'm highest in points scored by like 100. I've hit the worst matchups. I'm in 10th place out of 16 teams right now. I'm probably not going to make the playoffs. Most points scored by
median scoring for the win.
Yeah. I have Jonathan Taylor. He was obviously on bye last week. So there's one manager who kept attacking me. He's like, look, go to my roster and make me an offer. I said, no, I'm not trading Jonathan Taylor. He essentially got to the point, Josh, where I think he was going to give me Breece Hall, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson for straight up for Jonathan Taylor. I have no wide receivers. I am starting Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers at wide receiver right now. So it was tempting. I still said no when I went in and looked at the points and saw that, and I guess your league is probably the same way, Joseph. Jonathan Taylor is outscoring quarterbacks. He is turning non-superflex leagues into superflex leagues. He is the missing link to every championship team. You've made it this far, Joseph, without Jonathan Taylor. Now you get to add him, and you are the only person in the league who can guarantee that you get him. Make that move immediately.
Yep.
Charlene points out Browns and Falcons receiver is obsolete now, and that is so tough, Josh, for a player like me. Now, obviously, he's also out this week, but I've been relying on Drake London, and I am legitimately worried about week 14 now.
You kind of have to be. I mean, I'm truthfully worried about the rest of the season. Like, I know.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant like I already knew I wasn't going to have him for the next week or two.
Yeah.
When I get him back.
I mean, you basically just lost a wide receiver 1 right on the verge of the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah.
Because A, he's hurt, but B, Kirk Cousins have the arm strength of a 3-year-old right now. So there's just no getting him the football.
Yeah. It's hard.
On the Brown side,
they've always been irrelevant.
Their receivers have been irrelevant all season. And quite frankly, kind of said that earlier in the offseason.
No, nobody on this show, nobody who follows this show religiously is worried about, and Charlene points out she has London as well. So yeah, I'm actually in first place in the league where I've been relying on him the heaviest. So I just hope I can keep my bye week as things move on. ATL Outdoors made drops Friday and picked up Juwan Johnson, Jacoby Brissett to prepare for the bye week. What a move. He brings up it might be a long-term change. Yeah. Justin Herbert certainly limped into his bye week in more ways than one, Josh.
Yeah, that was a pretty pitiful performance. They apparently decided they needed 2 bye weeks and took the L.
That's so funny and so sad because guess what? That same Drake London team, Justin Herbert's my quarterback. So I feel like my team.
R.I.P. Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say in my home league, my 19-year home league, not the league that I care most about in this whole world. So fun. Jason Williams, 2 QB league, lost Penix and London. Welcome to the fucking club. But he has Lamar and Baker. He has a claim in for Cousins, then Tyrod as his QB free. Would you drop Spears, Pollard, or Mason to add Christian Watson?
Any of those 3.
Yeah. I would start with Mason. I know he had a good week this week. That is Aaron Jones's team, and it's not close. So.
Honestly, I think I'd be more willing to drop Pollard.
Pollard's ass. Here's the thing. They were like, Spears led the team this week. He had 4 rushing yards. He led the team because of his receiving ability. So,
yeah.
Ugly. Harry Brooks, pick one for the rest of season. Chris Rodriguez, Kareem Hunt, Trey Benson, Bashal Tootin. To me, I'll prioritize these. It's Hunt, Rodriguez, Tootin, Benson. Josh, I've completely flipped.
I've really turned your head on
you
Benson,
have.
huh?
Well, and I told you, though, it's every time I look it up, he's no closer to being back on the field. I'm thinking he's a shadow. He's just going to keep running away from you.
Yeah, it's Hunt and Rodriguez at the top for me.
100%.
I probably would flip Benson and Tootin, but I'm perfectly fine if you prioritize Tootin over Benson.
Yep. All right, let's get a couple more questions in here before we do a segment. Joseph, which defense we streaming this week? New England versus Cincinnati, Vegas versus Cleveland, Detroit versus the Giants, Rams versus Tampa Bay. It's close between Detroit and the Rams for me, Josh, but I'm going to go with the Rams against those Giants.
Rams play the Bucks.
I'm sorry. Detroit against the Giants. My apologies. It's close between those two. I'm going with Detroit against the Giants.
Bro, Cleveland gets Geno Smith. Are you kidding me?
No, he's saying it's Las Vegas. If he could
have,
you're never.
I was like, wait, no, you're never starting the Raiders.
Even against Shedeur Sanders. Me and Josh have talked about this. You don't start bad defenses against bad offenses. It just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no. Now, if it was the Browns against Geno, that's who you want. But yeah, Lions against Detroit, 100%.
I'm going to quickly throw Quincy up, and then we're going to knock out a segment. Quincy says, who would we rather have, Spears or Jordan Mason? Because, Josh, you mentioned Pollard. I would rather have Spears, so I'm going Jordan Mason. I think you're the same. I would drop Jordan Mason,
Yeah, I would drop Jordan Mason. I would keep Spears. Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to be in evaluation mode.
Yeah.
In these last, few games of the season because they don't have a coach. Pollard's a veteran. They could easily move off of his contract. They need to see what they have in Spears.
Yep.
Can he be a viable starter? Is he still a complimentary piece? Basically they need scouting reports on younger players for when the new head coach comes in.
Yep.
Because it's not going to be Mike McCoy. I can tell you that right now.
Ain't that the damn truth? We're going to knock out a segment. You guys are killing it with the questions today. Every question will get answered. For any new faces here, it may take us a little while. We are 17 questions in the backlog right now, but we are going to knock out some waiver talk just to keep this show moving along. I will remind all you, if you like what you're hearing, hit that like button. If you want to hear it again next week, hit that subscribe button. We go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. to talk waivers. If you happen to be listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. We do have super chat. If you want to jump the line, we'll get your super chats in basically anytime in between words on a segment. And we also have a Discord if you want to talk about fantasy when this show is over. Josh is dropping that link for you now. We get into the main. Josh, did we move your segment around? Oh, no, I'm too far down on my list right now. That explains why I did a read I wasn't supposed to do. We call it waiting in the kiddie pool, folks. I'm off my game a little bit today. We understand that a bunch of our listeners are still in 8-team fantasy leagues, and there is a little bit of strategy when it comes to 8-team waivers. Josh started a league just to do the research for you. Josh, talk to us about the small league waivers this week.
Yeah, last week, not so great, but I gave you the RB3 and the wide receiver 7, so I'll take it.
That's pretty great.
This week, at the quarterback position, Sam Darnold at Tennessee, Jacoby Brissett versus Jacksonville. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth on both of these guys, so I don't want to go too far. But Sam Darnold will bounce back. It's Tennessee. They suck. Watson again. Booty again. Hopefully Booty's back this week. I think the extra rest will help going against Cincinnati. They already suck, and they just lost their best corner. Minnesota gives up a ton of big plays. Christian Watson is a big play machine. Love that matchup. And I will add Michael Wilson because, again, I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. plays. This is a good spot simply based on volume. Jacksonville traded their best corner. How they were able to shut down Justin Herbert and the Chargers, I'm just going to peg it on the fact that the Chargers offensive line is ass. The Cardinals offensive line is at least better. So I think that Michael Wilson will do okay. And then Dalton Schultz against Buffalo. Buffalo's defense is not great, and Dalton Schultz is about as great of a floor for a tight end as you can get.
100%.
10 plus fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. I don't care who the quarterback is. He's getting targets.
Yeah, I think that's the one great thing about Schultz is you don't have to worry about the quarterback. He is, I don't want to call him QB proof. Both of the quarterbacks on this team love him. So you don't have to play the is it Stroud, is it Mills game. You get to just start him.
Well, and it helps that he's on a team with a lot of young wide receivers. So when the wide receivers can't get open or they miss their mark, he's the fallback.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Josh, we have a bunch of questions. Let's go ahead and knock out Morse code now. Let's keep pushing to the bigger team waivers And then let's jump in and just do a round of questions, because right now, if we started questions now, we're never going to get to Morse code, just putting it bluntly. So Morse code is our main section. It's our 10 to 12 team. Josh mentioned we were going to talk about these quarterbacks later. Let's just keep pushing along. I break this down into sections. So
super chat real quick.
What's that? Oh, super chat. Thank you, Josh. Tyler, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the $5. Do we think Josh Jacobs plays this week due to the news? I assume... So I didn't miss any news?
Well, the news that, again, unless something came out before we got on air, he was diagnosed with a knee contusion.
Okay, which is a bruise, basically.
And Matt LaFleur has already come out and said he could potentially play this week. So
obviously, Minnesota is an important game for them.
Yeah, 100%. So knowing Josh Jacobs, he's going to fight to play. This is what I will say, and it's the same thing I say every single time we get asked injury questions. Not a doctor, did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I don't know this stuff. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know how a player can react to a broken bone, a pulled ligament, a bruise, whatever it may be. A knee is a crucial part of a running back's anatomy.
Yep.
If it's just a bruise, knowing Josh Jacobs' history, I would bet that he plays.
I agree.
How effective he plays is the completely different question.
Well, it's going to depend on where in the knee is hurting. Whether they can keep swelling down is going to be enormous in all of this. So,
yeah, I mean, so again, I do think he plays, but that doesn't mean that I would not still prioritize Emmanuel Wilson on waivers if he's available and if I have Josh Jacobs.
Well, let me just ask you this, Josh. I think this is the more important question for Tyler. First of all, yes, go get Emmanuel Wilson. If Josh Jacobs is active against Minnesota, you are putting him in your starting lineup?
100%.
Okay. I think that's the most important question.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, if Josh Jacobs plays, he's not sitting on my bench.
There you go.
He scores too many touchdowns.
So we are guessing he does play, and we are saying you start him if he does play. I hope that helps, Tyler. Josh, let's kick this thing off. Morse code with the quarterbacks. I wrote in my notes, it's ugly because Joe Flacco wasn't good last week. Jacoby Brissett has been this weird kind of good where he keeps turning the ball over, but at least he throws it a million times every game. And so the numbers are there. What do you have? 457 yards last week. So I think the best two quarterbacks on waivers are Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett. Then you get down to a level where do you want safe with Sam Darnold, and calling him safe lately has been a bit of a stretch. Or do you want to bet on the gunslinging rookie? And Josh, I'm going to tell you right now, in two of my leagues where I don't have Justin Herbert, none of these guys are available. I'm starting Tyler Shugg this week in 2 leagues. So
shout out Hoove for that one.
Yeah, 100%. I hope Hoove is listening. I pay attention to these players because of you. And like I said, Josh, he looked good going into the bye. They're coming out of the bye against a reeling Atlanta team. Obviously, Atlanta's better on defense than they are on offense right now, but a bad offense could put Tyler Shugg into some interesting positions. So
yeah, the only thing I worry about really specifically for Shugg is the Atlanta pass rush. James Pierce looks really fucking
so good.
He looks good. I still would not have traded a future first to move up to get him. And it's going to cost Atlanta because right now you're basically giving the Rams a top 10 pick right now. And good God, that team doesn't need to get any better. I digress. Anyway, for me, I'm prioritizing Jacoby Brissett. He has 5 games. He started 5 games this season. He's been over 250 yards each game and has thrown exactly 2 touchdowns in every single game.
Wow.
That is an 18-point floor. That's what you want from a streamer. That's the definition of save my week for my starter.
He is the QB8 since taking over as the starter, QB4 in a points per game basis.
Yeah, and he hasn't scored fewer than 19.4 points in any of his starts. Like, I don't care if he's turning the ball over. And really, he's only thrown 3 interceptions in 5 games. So, you know, unless there's more fumbles that aren't showing up when I do my research.
Well, he had the 2 fumble sixes to start that Seattle game.
Okay, yeah, so, fair enough. But he has over 30. He has 31 or more pass attempts in every game. He's throwing the football. Like, I can't.
It's almost like they have no running game.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot ignore that at all. So, yeah, fire up Jacoby Brissett.
And I wanted you to elaborate a little bit. You do believe Sam Darnold is going to bounce back? Because
Yeah, I mean,
right
the
now,
Rams have a good defense.
Sam Darnold owners are down bad right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it, and I've said this before. Rams have a great front seven. They're going to put pressure on every single quarterback that they play. Sam Darnold looked like New York Jets Sam Darnold.
He did, seeing ghost.
He was due. Let's just put it bluntly. He was due. So, and it was the same thing that I said about the Broncos going in and playing the Chiefs. Like, you get, you're facing the top of the mountain team, right? Yeah. It's the team that, has run the division for so long that, are you going to fold? You're going to get pressured, whatever. I thought the Chiefs would pull it out. I was clearly wrong. Seattle is in the exact same situation against the Rams. The Rams are the team that's won the Super Bowl within the last 5 years. Matthew Stafford has a storied career. This has been one of the best offenses in the NFL. And again, they have arguably one of the best, if not the best, front sevens in the NFL. Seattle's offensive line is average.
Yep.
They're not great. They're average. You take a great defense against an average offensive line, they're going to make life hell for you. JSN did his part. He was fine. Whatever.
Always does.
But all that pressure in your face causes turnovers. Yep. What did the Eagles do to Jared Goff on Sunday night? They did the exact same thing. This is what happens. So I'm not looking at it in terms of, wow, you know what? We're back to Jets Sam Darnold for the rest of the season. No, he played a good defense. This thing happens. Tennessee Titans are not the Los Angeles Rams.
There you go.
Plain and simple.
Moving on to the running backs. This is where Sean Tucker gets his love. I still think he's someone to look at. There is going to be a bit of a timeshare. I just think Bucky Irving's not going to allow Sean Tucker to be much more than a flex play. Sean Tucker, Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, Bashal Tutin, Tyler Algier. It is cuffing season, folks. If you have Bijan Robinson, you need to have Tyler Algier. And Chris Rodriguez. Josh, we were not sure how the Giants were going to handle their running back situation with the changing coach and the changing quarterback. We were thinking this was going to be Tyrone Tracy, kind of like his audition tape. And it was, and he played well. Devin Singletary handled all of the short yardage work and found the end zone doing so.
Yeah, this basically is, if you want to put it in terms of, hey, let's make some comparisons, right? Tyrone Tracy is Sean Tucker. Devin Singletary is Rachaad White.
Okay.
That's the long and short of it. Just lesser versions, right?
Yeah.
Singletary, not very efficient. I think he had 34 yards on what do you have? Almost 18 carries, it felt like.
Yeah, as I say, it was like 18
it was not good, from an efficiency standpoint. But when the Giants moved down the field and they got in the red zone, who did they trust? They trusted Devin Singletary. When you're dealing with an interim head coach who essentially he is a player in the sense that he's out there putting out tape for his next job.
Yeah.
That is what he is doing. Mike Kafka has gone on head coaching interviews. This is what he's ultimately trying to do. Are you going to trust somebody who's not good in pass pro to line up in pass pro, who hasn't shown the affinity to be a goal line back to score in the red zone?
No, you're going to use
That's why he's using Devin Singletary. He's using the veteran in those instances. Yeah. So I'm fine relying on Singletary for that. But here's the flip side. Much like Rachaad White, that inefficiency is going to catch up to him.
Absolutely.
So if you invested in Tyrone Tracy, great, cool. But you are just waiting for Devin Singletary to not get those high value touches. And the fact is that may not happen.
Yeah.
So now you're stuck with a running back who lives between the 20s.
Yeah.
And that is not valuable in standard leagues and really not as valuable in half PPR leagues either.
And not valuable in this Giants offense.
Also true, because Jameis Winston pushes the ball down the field.
Yeah. Nope. 100% fair. Josh, Chris Rodriguez breaks my rule. He is on bye next week, but he has very clearly won the job in Washington. We've always had the rule you don't leave starting running backs on waivers. Obviously, he's not great, but I do think if you have the room to add him this week, I think he's probably worth an add.
Yeah, this week in Madrid, this was his first game over a 40% snap share. So again, maybe it looks like he's taking over the role. He had 15 carries. He's on a bye this week. But now let's talk the same thing with Trey Benson, Who does Chris Rodriguez have coming out of the bye week?
Ooh.
Denver and Minnesota. Are you blowing a waiver priority on that? Because I'm not.
It's a really good point. Yeah, maybe a minimum FAAB bid, but definitely don't blow a waiver priority. I think that's a great point. I just want to quickly reiterate, I see all the questions, and they are, after this section, it is going to be all questions. I just want to make sure you folks are aware of that. Millie, I knocked that train off the rails about 3-4 weeks ago.
Ryan has conceded. He's conceded.
In the home league, I finally did it. I took my own advice. I dropped Bill Krosky-Merritt this week. So I am fully off of that. They want it to be Chris Rodriguez. I like Chris Rodriguez. I like Chris Rodriguez a lot as a rookie. I'm glad to see him get this chance. I thought Bill was going to be a thing. He wasn't. Moving on to the wide receivers. This is where Michael Wilson gets his due, and Josh has spent a lot of the show already defending Michael Wilson. I also have Xavier Legette, Trey Tucker, Darnell Mooney. I did tell you I would not prioritize Darnell Mooney. Just throwing that out there. Josh Downs, Kayshon Boutte should not be available, and then Tej Johnson is still out there in a bunch of leagues. Josh, your two guys who are highlighted, you kind of probably got to say your piece, but I'm going to let you just go in depth on why you like Michael Wilson and why you're avoiding Cedric Tillman.
It just boils down to volume. Like I said with Jacoby Brissett, he has not had a single start this season under 31 pass attempts. He hasn't had a single start under 257 passing yards and has 2 touchdown passes in every single game.
Wow.
Like, he is productive. So in the event that the Arizona running game can't get going, which if you're a betting person, bet the over. Bet on that,
especially with Amari DeMercado going out now.
Exactly. They cannot get the ground game going. What does that mean? Jacoby Brissett is going to throw the football.
Yep.
And if he's throwing it 35 times, if he's throwing it 40 times, if he's throwing it 57 times, Trey McBride is not going to see 22 targets.
No.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to see 22 targets. So even if Marvin Harrison, once he comes back, whether it's this week, next week, 2 weeks, whatever, Michael Wilson is going to have a role. Now, I don't know how much more they're going to involve Greg Dortch. Once Marvin Harrison Jr. comes back, Dortch had himself a pretty decent game this week. But again, 57 pass attempts.
Yeah.
But they also used him a lot out of the backfield, which makes sense because their running back room sucks.
Yep.
Michael Wilson's going to have a role. Again, may not be 10 targets, might only be 6, might be 7, but there's going to be opportunities. So as long as Marvin Harrison is out, he is a high upside wide receiver 2, in my opinion. Once Marvin Harrison comes back, he is a high upside flex, in my opinion.
I like
simply because Brissett is not throwing, plain and simple.
Yeah. And then you kind of said your piece about Cedric Tillman. Just obviously you're avoiding the Browns. That kind of leads us into tight ends. So if you don't want to harp on Tillman, I'm just going to quickly throw out there, Kayshon Boutte should not be on waivers, folks. If he is playing, he needs to be on your team. Drake May is playing very good football right now. Don't take too much out of the Jets. He didn't need to be a hero against the Jets. I think Kayshon Boutte needs to be added. Josh, when we look at these tight ends, Dalton Schultz, we spend a ton of time on. Safest waiver tight end that exists in the whole world, even ahead of Juwan Johnson. I love Juwan Johnson. I see the love for Schultz. Colston Loveland has not had the breakout we hoped. Harold Fannin and Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson was still able to be a decent player with Jameis Winston. Theo Johnson is so good when it is Jackson Dart. Just keep that in mind. But I wonder, Josh, if your hatred of the Cleveland passing game extends to Harold Fannin, who could be a dump-off outlet option.
I mean, he could be. I don't see the ceiling.
Okay.
Not this week. As long as Shedeur is the starter, I don't see it. I want to see Shedeur Sanders play competent football before I start feeling comfortable playing the Cleveland Browns pass catchers, because even with Dillon Gabriel, I don't feel that confident starting any of these guys.
Well, I mean, Fannin was 4 for 22, which is fine for a tight end, but still shitty in the overall.
I was going to say, even in what was he, tight end 28 this week?
Yeah.
Worse than that.
And then Njoku had like 1 catch.
So. Yeah. So and again, they only had 116 passing yards or something like that. Like,
they're also only throwing the ball 25 times a game tops. Like,
exactly. That just limits the upside of any and all pass catchers.
Yep. All right, folks, that wraps up the major waiver wire section. We'll have a few more waiver things later on in the show, but if you're just here to hear waivers, I'm going to be honest with you, that's the end of it. Have fun. We are about to do questions for I don't know how long. This is, I think, the second most we've ever had in the whole 22 questions. We're not going to miss one. Here we go, folks. We buy homes, 6-point passing touchdowns. Start Dak or Danny Dimes. Josh, Dimes obviously went into the buy on a downspin. Dak Prescott is coming off his best game of the season. I am not back benching Dak Prescott.
Who's throwing more touchdown passes? It's Dak.
I thought you were. I thought this was a trick question. I was like, no. There's no fucking way it's Daniel Jones.
I mean, when it's 6 points per passing touchdown, you take the high volume passing touchdowns. That's Dak Prescott.
You take the guy with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson at his disposal.
Exactly. So. Danny Dimes is sharing touchdowns with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Yep. It's Dak all day long. Mr. Least with my profile picture. You got DeAndre Swift and Chase Brown for rest of season, Josh. Brown has obviously improved in recent weeks, and we're seeing more and more Kyle Monangai. I think I'm probably leaning Chase Brown on this.
Yes. Doesn't have the competition that Swift has. Monangai kind of snakes some touchdowns here and there. Yeah, I'm leaning Chase Brown.
Yeah, when you look like this past week, Swift still 21 carries. Like they are loving what they have in DeAndre Swift, and they're just running the ball so damn much. But Chase Brown still had 18 carries and caught 6 balls out of the backfield. It's just the better offense. It's where I'm leaning. So, Jonathan Santiago, drop Sharbs or Mason to pick up Wilson, Tucker, or Tootin. Josh, I know you're not a big Trey Tucker fan. I do think he deserves a little bit of run based on what we're starting to see from him in that offense. Obviously, I guess the question is this Michael Wilson or Emmanuel Wilson?
I mean, that's a fair question at this point.
Because my question to you is just, does it matter, Josh? Because Sharbs has been up and down. I'm not in on Jordan Mason. I'm not going to freak out because he had one decent game. So,
yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm fine dropping Mason, truthfully.
I am too.
I would probably still hang on to Charbonnet. I mean, really, it just boils down to, do I need to pick up any of these guys to start them?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Michael, let's assume this is Michael Wilson. Josh, you've kind of put it out there. This week, he's a lot more valuable than he is rest of season, and that could matter for this team. So.
Yeah, but if you can only start up to 3 wide receivers, and
are you starting him?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the roster to answer that question. So, that said, like I'm fine adding to depth. So yeah, I mean, give me Mason. Give me Michael Wilson over Mason. I'm fine with that. Trey Tucker, again, better than the Browns offense, still in the same category.
That's fair. Yeah, Geno has not been it. Keenan, we just talked about this one. I would say we're mildly bought into the hype in that I think he is the starting running back the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's about as convinced I am when it comes to Rodriguez.
I'm gonna add him if I have room. I have no intentions of starting him.
Correct.
We buy home, start 1 wide receiver. Abuka versus the Rams. I was like, wait, what? Abuka versus the Rams, Digg versus Cincinnati, Jettis versus Green Bay, Higgins versus New England. This is a standard league. He can only start one of these players, Josh.
It's Abuka. I'm not.
You cannot bench Abuka, but I think Diggs is gonna fucking eat this week.
Yeah, I think Diggs is gonna go off. Not convinced. Jefferson's like 4th on this list for me. Higgins is interesting, but I know he's gonna see a lot of Christian Gonzalez.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of corner that can shut down T. Higgins.
100%. Yeah.
Which again, Yoshivas is going to be a guy that a lot of people are probably overlooking.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be a strong consideration.
It's music to Joe Zolo and I's ears, who have been the Andre Yoshivas fans. And now I'm going to have to go look in leagues where I might need some wide receiver help. Niori, first question of the show. Welcome back, buddy. Waiver wire unrelated, but it doesn't seem that the Seahawks are managing K9's injury, and now he's just being doesn't it seem like they were managing K9's injury and now he's being unleashed? I don't mean to toot my own horn, Josh, and I don't remember what week I said that on this show. This was exactly what I told people was going to happen, that they were waiting until post-bye and it was going to be K9's offense.
That would be music to my ears.
I'm just saying.
I sincerely hope it is.
And that was one that I did research for. That was one where I was digging in, reading some of the Seattle papers. I had a little thought process behind this, and it looks like, let's be clear, if you guys have watched this show for any of the last 3 years, you know me being right tends to me being wrong very fast. So just throwing that out there. But right now, Josh, it looks like I might have called this one.
Yeah, I hope so, because the one league that I still have Kenneth Walker, I would very much love to start him.
Yeah, I got to start
because I don't have Jamar Chase. So
I had to start him twice this past week because of bye weeks, and so it worked out really well this past week. Harry, Derrick Henry looking good when healthy, and having with a healthy Lamar back, good matchups coming up. Yeah, this is a show that told you temper your expectations for Henry, but do not move off of him if you don't have to. So it's about to be December. That's Derrick Henry.
Yeah, this is Derrick Henry season. You kidding me?
Yep. Caesar, better buy low in a Superflex dynasty, Penix or Kyler? This is a great question, Josh. My issue is, this is going to be me being very harsh, and this is from an asshole who bought Penix this past week. I have not seen enough from Penix to be sold. Kyler has at least been a functional quarterback in the NFL, Josh, and he's going to start somewhere next year. It's probably Kyler for me.
Yeah, it's Kyler. I'll share a dynasty trade that I made this past week.
Hey.
I traded Bryce Young right before his big blow up,
of course,
straight up for Kyler Murray.
That's fair. You weren't getting more out of him after the blow up.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, like, I mean, it was, you can call it what it will, a sell low, so to speak, on Bryce Young, but I'll take the upside with Kyler. I have Drake May, and I swung a deal to move CJ Stroud and a couple of firsts to get Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
So, like, either of those guys was going to be my QB3 anyway. I'll take the rushing upside, which Penix really doesn't have, and now he's dealing with another leg and a knee, leg, whatever. But I mean,
Millie trying to defend me, saying I wasn't an asshole for buying Michael Penix. It was actually one of the worst trades I've ever made. I'm not going to try to break it down on air. I didn't think Joe Burrow was coming back. I thought I had a chance at the playoffs. In a Superflex dynasty, I moved Burrow for Penix and Kyron Williams and Rashad White because I have Bucky.
That's one of the leagues that I'm in with you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the
is it
Dynasty AF, I think.
Okay.
No, I think it's Dynasty AF with Austin. It's that one. So my thought process was Burrow's going to do nothing for me, and I needed running back help. I'm not furious looking at it because I did get Kyron Williams, who's one of my favorite players, but it's still a terrible, terrible trade. I am an asshole. Millie, just know if I call myself an asshole, I'm right. No matter what happens in this world, I'm right. Keenan, which kicker are we looking to pick up this week, Myers or Elliott? Josh, I had to double check my stats on this because obviously I pay more attention to kickers than you do. Keenan, all love here. Jason Myers is the number 1 kicker in fantasy. Jake Elliott is the number 20 kicker in fantasy. The answer is Myers, and it's not particularly close.
No, you're not going to get any arguments from me.
Yeah. Joseph, does it matter? Oh, never mind. That was his follow-up to his guillotine question. Daniel. Hey, fellas, longtime owner of Juwan Johnson. Congratulations. Dropped him for Gadsden. Not congratulations. He's back available on the wire. Should you pick him up again? Absolutely. Keep Juwan Jennings or Pearsall rest of season, Josh. I think it's Jennings, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, drop Pearsall and get Juwan Johnson.
There you go. Works out well for you. Tyler.
Yeah, we answered this one with the super chat.
Yeah, I just didn't unstar it. JR, who's the priority pickup? Pollard, Wilson, Singletary, or Tucker? Josh, the only one of this group I even like is Emmanuel Wilson, and that's still a 1-week rental. You just called Pollard to drop a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine moving off of Pollard. Again, like, I'm perfectly fine going out and grabbing Sean Tucker. You're not going to find bigger fans of Sean Tucker than on this podcast. Let's be perfectly clear.
Just do not go into Sean Tucker thinking that you are going to get 3 touchdowns every week. Please.
Well, that's the one side of it, but also too, like, Sean Tucker goes right back to the bench once Bucky Irving comes back, which really is the same thing with Emmanuel Wilson. Singletary is the only one to me that actually has a real role right now. I very much want to believe with Sean Tucker that you don't put the genie back in the bottle, but guess what? He had a big blow up game last year and they put the genie right back in the bottle. So
20 fantasy points the rest of the season after a 37-point week last year.
Exactly. Which fucking Todd Bowles.
Befuddling. Sean Tucker is so good, people. I want to be very clear. I called him a trap earlier in the show. He's only a trap because of irrational NFL coaching. Sean Tucker is so good and should have a real role in the NFL. Tampa Bay, it's hard because Bucky Irving also so very good.
Yeah. So again, like, it's just one of those things where, I don't want to blow first priority to get Sean Tucker. I don't want to blow a ton of FAAB if I have any left to go get Sean Tucker because there's a chance that he probably only sees 1 carry this week. Like, if the trend is correct and Bucky plays this week, Sean Tucker is going to have less than 5 touches.
Yep.
And you spent you blew your priority on nothing and you spent your FAAB on nothing.
So, Josh, do you think it's safe to say if you need a starter this week, it's Wilson? If you're looking rest of season, you'd probably go Singletary
That's how
or
I would
Tucker.
look at it.
Yeah.
That's how I would look at it. Yeah.
If you cannot pick up Christian Watson, are we going for Shamiri DK, Andre Yoshivas, or Tez Johnson? Josh, I think this is Yoshivas, assuming you need to start someone this week.
For this week, yeah, it's Yoshivas.
If it's rest of season and you don't need him this week, it's probably still Tez. But I think DK is interesting too now with Calvin Ridley done for the year. But
again, DK probably misses this week. Concussion.
I would say DK's out too. Yep.
So, yeah, that's kind of how I would look at it. Tez, DK, then Yoshivas. But again, if it's just this week, give me Yoshivas.
Yep. Paulo has London, Higgins, Sutton, Wandale, Judy. Should we make the move to trade Higgins, maybe for a Dunze and another piece? If I'm getting a Dunze and another piece, I'm okay with this. I would just say, Josh, and I know you agree with me, you can't rely on like Judy, Wandale, and Sutton to be your wide receiver too. Just make sure you're getting a guy like a Dunze back because you need a wide receiver 1 now.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you don't have London and London doesn't have a quarterback. So I don't know that I'm rushing to move Higgins with the London news.
That's a good point. You need a wide receiver 1, and a Dunze is so up and down.
And it really would depend what the other piece is for me before I decide.
It probably needs to be another damn wide receiver.
It honestly does, yeah. Wandale wasn't anything special the first game with Jameis. Isaiah Hodgins came off the deep depths of the Giants roster to resurface. Jerry Judy's ass, plain and simple.
The Giants and these wide
Sutton is now the wide receiver 2 on his own team. I would probably need another wide receiver in that mix to move Higgins.
And like one that I want to start.
Yeah. Truthfully.
Millie, Theo, AJ Barner, or Pitts? Millie, cover your ears. I am not an enormous fan of Kyle Pitts anymore at all, Josh. He is as average as it fucking gets anymore. I'm going Theo Johnson here. I know AJ Barner has that weird upside, but I'm going to go Theo Johnson for the more volume.
Yeah, it's Theo Johnson. It's not close for me. We talked about Kyle Pitts on yesterday's show.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse now that Kirk Cousins is quarterbacking for the next month at minimum.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts isn't that typical tight end who can benefit from a quarterback who can't throw the ball down.
Barner is just inconsistent. Maybe he gets a touchdown in the red zone, but Theo Johnson's the only one that has a defined role in their offense, in my opinion.
Sport Dog, 8-team league, Superflex, need to drop 2 of these players, Vidal, Shakir, Stevenson.
I'd wager there's probably better wide receivers, so I'd be okay dropping Shakir.
I was gonna say, they all feel so droppable to me. So
in an 8-team, all 3 are droppable, truthfully.
Yeah.
I would probably I would prioritize Vidal.
There you go. I was going to say the exact same thing. So, yeah, prioritize the Vidal, but if there's a third player out there you want, drop him too.
Yeah,
it's not that big a deal. This is such a great question. I saw this when it popped up, Josh. Jacoby Myers coming into his own there in Jacksonville, or Chris Godwin coming back?
It's Jacoby Myers. I'm not
trusting
Chris Godwin. I already trusted Chris Godwin once this year.
I'll be an asshole. I'll still trust Chris Godwin. On my team right now where I'm relying on Jacoby Myers, if someone offered me Godwin straight up for Myers, I would take the trade. So it's Godwin for me.
We're both playing the same role in the same offense. So.
That's fair too. Alec Pierce or Quinshon Judkins? Josh, this Browns offense has lent itself to destroying the value of everybody in it, and that includes Quinshon Judkins, who had some really solid weeks. He may not be suspended, but he's certainly not getting any run. 17 carries for 59 yards this week, 2 targets, did not catch a ball. How do you throw 3 targets to a running back and none of them get caught? That's how bad the Browns quarterback play is.
Yeah, good news for Judkins. He plays the Raiders.
The Raiders.
So if there's any chance for 80 yards and a touchdown, it's this week. I'm fine going Judkins. Obviously, your boom potential is Alec Pierce. So if you're facing somebody that maybe has a pop game on a Thursday, maybe you go the upside with Pierce. But I'm fine sticking with Judkins.
No notes. Perfect answer from Josh. Keenan. Is there any faith in Godwin being productive? Josh says no. I say yes.
I mean, I'm not going to say there's not faith, but at the end of the day, like I had faith earlier in the season, and then they rushed him back. So, they've obviously been cautious. He's missed a lot of time since then, but again, like I don't know if his legs are really under him yet, and it could take him a couple weeks to get to that point. So,
Quincy, full PPR, Pierce or Swift? Again, I'm almost always, Josh, going with the guaranteed volume of a running back. I love Alec Pierce, but DeAndre Swift is just a safer option, plain and simple.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. It's floor versus ceiling.
Yep.
Swift is the floor, Pierce is the ceiling.
Yep. Neori, JMO or K9? He says JMO's coming off that loss. K9's playing the Titans, and Mike McDonald's hinting at a bigger workload for Titan. Guess what? Similar
Same
to the last three questions, I'm going to go with the guaranteed workload of Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, and the moment you go with Kenneth Walker, it's going to be all Charbonnet. So
yeah, or the minute you go with JMO, it's going to be insert random name off the bench. Khalif Raymond. I could not think of the damn name, but
no, as long as Dan Campbell's calling the plays, I'm perfectly fine going Jameson Williams.
So would you go JMO in this situation?
Yeah, I would go JMO over this.
Okay, I would still go K9, but that's just who I am. James, I think that's a new name. Welcome to the show. How are we feeling about Trey Benson coming off the IR? So, James, you're a new name. Let me break down to you what it's been like being Ryan for the last 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago, I was super excited. I was super excited because my dumbass thought he was eligible to come off the IR a week early. And I was like, oh shit, he's not even eligible. So then I did a little bit more research. And 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh man, he's like not even practicing yet. He's probably not going to come off when he's allowed to come off. And then last week when he was eligible to come off, I read that he still hadn't returned to practice yet. And so, James, I have went from being very excited to I don't even want Trey Benson on my IR at this point. And now I get why he's available in 50% of fantasy leagues. Josh.
And then you look at the matchups.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He's not even a top 30 running back.
Yeah, Josh has been actually talking to me about that for a while now too. So
long story short, hard pass.
Yeah, we are not bought in. Bryce, new name. Welcome to the show. Just traded Jamar and Addison for Puka and Watson at 6 and 5. You know what? At 6 and 5, you desperately need to win this week, Josh. I think that's the perfect trade to make right now.
Yeah. I mean,
you took a non-starting asset to a starting asset. Puka and Jamar are even. Watson and Addison are even because Addison has the worst fucking quarterback in football. I think the Puka Watson side of this is a good move.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah.
This, Josh, is the perfect question for us to wrap up this chat session.
Oh, damn it.
Do we drop Cortland Sutton for Troy Franklin? And Josh, you kind of led into this yesterday that you believe this is now Troy Franklin's team.
Yeah, I think it is. I hate to say it. It's more consistent. It's the same argument we've had for the past 6 questions: ceiling versus floor, right?
That's very fair.
Franklin's the floor, Sutton's the ceiling.
Yep. So we're okay with it if you're okay with a floor play.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we have caught up. We still have a few more segments to do. Drop your questions in there. We'll get to them one more time before the end of the show. That was a long segment, so I'm going to do my read right now. Hit like and subscribe. We do this show every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. If you subscribe, you'll get the notifications. We do waivers Tuesday. We do reaction shows on Monday. We do our preview show on Wednesday. Plus, there's a whole bunch of shows that Josh and I aren't involved with. There's a lot going on at Club Fantasy. You're not going to be mad if you hit that subscribe. If you happen to be listening to Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. We do have a Discord. If you want to talk fantasy once this show ends, we go on for about an hour and a half every Monday and Tuesday. Josh will drop the link for the Discord in the chat, or it's already in the description. You guys can jump into that for free. Mayday. These are the players that we are telling you can go ahead and drop. And Josh, last week I couldn't find a quarterback to put on this list. This week he's only 48% roster, but I feel like we could just go ahead and pick on JJ McCarthy. The same way you talk about don't start bad defenses because they're playing a bad offense. Don't start bad quarterbacks just because it's a good matchup. I bought in that JJ McCarthy was going to be functional this week. The kid sucks, plain and simple. He is droppable.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen decent JJ McCarthy games, so I very much want to believe that, this is a quote-unquote get-right game for him. But again, I don't know how you can confidently go out and start him with what you've seen the past 2-3 weeks since he came back from injury.
And I don't think he needs to be held in one QB league.
I was going to say, 10, 12-team leagues, he's a bottom 20 starter.
Yeah, 48% rostered. So people are holding him. It's weird.
I don't get it at all. That's not rosterable in my opinion. There's better streamers out there.
At running back, the names everyone's been waiting for, and I don't know, Josh, you're going to push back on me at all here. I think Bill is droppable. Said it last week. Chuba Hubbard, that is not his team anymore. Isaiah Pacheco, that is not his team anymore. Nick Chubb, that is not his team anymore. So, Josh, these are 4 guys who we thought were starters 4 weeks ago, and they're just not the starters anymore. If you need a roster spot going into this bye week, I'm fine with dropping any of these guys.
Correct. Yeah. The only one I would push back a little on Chuba Hubbard just in the event that something happens to Rico. Because again, I mean, we've seen good Chuba
It's
Hubbard.
cuffing season.
Yeah, it's
That's
cuffing
a really
season,
good
right?
point.
So,
yeah.
JCM, I mean, sure, maybe if something happens to Chris Rodriguez, but again, like you're talking about a starting running back, quote unquote, on an offense that, quite frankly, isn't as good as it was last year, right?
Yeah.
Pacheco is just not a good running back, period. Nick Chubb is past his prime. So, yeah.
Nick Chubb is done. Nick Chubb is stealing money from the Texans at this point. Josh,
we said was happening at the beginning of the season.
We did. Yeah, we just didn't know it was going to be Woody Marks putting him out of a job.
True.
Josh, I debated putting Terry McLaurin on this list, but the fact of the matter is this. He's not on the IR, so a lot of teams can't put him in the IR spot. He's banged up. They have bad quarterback play on a bad offense. So I'm fine with dropping Terry McLaurin. We've been telling everybody, guess what? Jerry Jeudy had 5 points last week. He does not matter in fantasy football. You don't need to hold him. It breaks my heart to say this, Josh. Keon Coleman may be acting his way out of a job in the NFL. You do not need to be holding him in fantasy. And for the love of God, people, drop Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I mean, no pushback from me.
Yeah.
The Terry McLaurin stuff definitely breaks my heart, especially because, he sat out to get that extension. But, we kind of said that, he was going to regress this season anyway. The touchdowns, he had a career high in touchdowns last year. What goes up must come down. But, holding out most of the camp, like that's always a recipe for disaster. And it's been beyond disastrous for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. And Washington in general.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you're looking at who's available on waivers, I would drop McLaurin and pick up Michael Wilson.
Oh,
I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah,
Michael Wilson's going to help me win.
Guys.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're sitting at, if you drafted Terry McLaurin, there's a good chance that you're definitely not anything better than 6-5.
Very true.
Most of the teams that I have Terry McLaurin on are like 2-9, 3-8. Like, they're bad.
I have Terry McLaurin on 2 teams that are sitting at 5 wins right now.
Yeah. So, like, you need wins, plain and simple.
Yep.
Terry McLaurin's not getting them for you.
There you go. Tight end. Some big names. One I've been telling you to drop forever. But Kyle Pitts, new to the list with the addition of Kirk Cousins and the just badness of that offense. Kyle Pitts is the tight end 18 right now. Does not need to be rostered. TJ Hawkinson. It's fine, people. Drop him. Evan Ingram is kind of my fault. I've told you guys a couple of times that you can add him. He ain't it. He's done.
Josh, in fairness, you said in the beginning of the season, do not waste your time with Evan Ingram.
I did. It's hard for me as the stream person because like sometimes you want to try to play the matchup. Evan Ingram just sucks, plain and simple. And then David Njoku, Josh, we've already said you can't trust any member of this Browns pass catching team, but Harold Fannin is clearly working ahead of David Njoku. If you're trusting a tight end, it cannot be Njoku. Njoku is rostered in 60% of leagues, Fannin in 50%.
Yeah, Njoku's a low volume. Maybe he scores the touchdown guy. That's it.
Yeah. And you actually said that last week now that I think about it. So that was a great call on your part. Let's knock out deep sea diving and finish the show with questions. Deep sea diving is for our 14-team leagues. My home league is a 14-team league. So a lot of this are the types of players that I am considering starting in a home league this week. At quarterback, we're looking at CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, maybe even Mason Rudolph. It's not a terrible matchup. As Josh mentioned, he's not very accurate, but he does seem to find the end zone in this terrible offense. And Trevor Lawrence. I am at the point where I told you folks, Tyler Shugg made the next category up. I'm choosing between Tyler Shugg and Trevor Lawrence in many leagues. I am playing Shugg for ceiling. If I was looking for floor, Trevor Lawrence is a 14-point floor every single week, it seems. If you're looking for floor, Trevor Lawrence is probably your best play.
Only when he scores a rushing touchdown.
That's true, too. At running back, Ty Johnson.
T-Law.
Ty Johnson, inexplicably a big part of the passing game this week. It may be worth a look just in the current state of the Bills offense. Bam Knight, now that we're hearing Amari DiMercado's out, obviously we don't believe that Trey Benson is coming back anytime soon. Tyjae Spears, Jaleel McLaughlin. Josh called this one perfectly.
That's the name right there. And I don't even want to take credit for it because Ben Albright he covers the Broncos and he's been on this train. If something happens to JK, it's Jaleel McLaughlin, and that's exactly what happened. So
there you go. Greg Dortch, if you're looking at wide receiver, as Josh mentioned, they're throwing the ball a ton. We don't think Marvin Harrison's back this week. Take your pick of your Jets wide receiver of fancy. This show is a big fan of John Mechie. John Mechie scores a touchdown last week. Adonai Mitchell didn't do a whole lot, but he was seeing some targets. Jaden Higgins continues to be a part of that Houston offense. Shamiri DK, if he plays, even if he doesn't, if you have room to add him. At tight end, Mason Taylor is going to be the biggest benefactor of Tyrod Taylor taking over this offense. Cade Otton is like Dalton Schultz light, but he has a lower floor. AJ Barner's a player we talked about, but then Josh, you also got Brenton Strange possibly coming off the IR, probably a sight for sore eyes for Trevor Lawrence this week. If you're in
I was going to say that would be a huge boost to Jacksonville's passing offense if Brenton Strange is able to come back this week, because they need all the help they can get.
Yeah. Just throwing Hoove up on the screen real quick, buddy. You missed it. I'm all in on Tyler Shugg this week, and we gave you all the credit in the world. So good to see you in the chat there, Hoove. Josh, let's finish this thing up with the chat. ATL Outdoors says, picked up Juwan and Brissett Friday. Oh, wait. We saw that. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh, so he's asking now our opinion. I am not giving up on Justin Herbert, but I will say if I had the ability to keep Herbert and have Brissett on my bench, I'm doing it from now on. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't discount what Herbert's done so far this season. The offensive line is troublesome, plain and simple, and it's going to be a headache for Herbert's upside. To me, he downgrades to more of a low-end QB1 versus the top 5 QB that he's been for the first 10 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Zach, Emmanuel Wilson over Marks, RJ Harvey, Quinshon Judkins, or Breece Hall. I'm still going to ride with Breece Hall, especially with Tyrod Taylor. I think he'll keep this offense on schedule.
Yeah, I'm not going Wilson over any of those guys.
Yep. Benson on IR. Do we drop Alec Pierce or Chris Godwin for him? Nope. This show has changed completely. Well, when I say this show, one of us has changed completely and is no longer bought in on Trey Benson. What's up, Dustin? Good at running back and wide receiver. Who would we recommend scooping off of waivers? Emmanuel Wilson, he is giving up priority number 1. Emmanuel Wilson, Christian Watson, Bam Knight. So here's what I'm going to ask, Dustin, if you're still in the chat. Do you lose one for the whole season, or does it change every week who has the number 1 priority? Josh, I'm not giving up my number 1 priority for any of these guys if I get to keep it next week. So
I would for Christian Watson.
Ooh, okay.
At this point in the season, you need a starting wide receiver. Go get Christian Watson.
That's fair too. So Christian Watson. Zach, Christian Watson, Darnell Mooney, or Michael Wilson over Roma Dunze or Zay this week. He said Chase fucked him by acting like a child. Yeah, that's a little rough. I think there's something to Watson over either one of those 2 wide receivers. I don't know that I would have the courage to make that move.
Who does? Let me see. Bears have Minnesota this week, right?
Yes.
No, they have Steelers. So Dunze gets.
Oh yeah, we're thinking
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. Who do the Ravens have this week? Ravens have.
Sorry, I'm not even helping here. Ravens have Jets.
Yeah, you can't. Oh God.
Can't bench Zay.
I was going to say, I don't think you can bench Zay, but I also would not be surprised if Derrick Henry runs for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. I might go Watson over Odunze.
There you go.
Ask me again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, let me remind everyone of the schedule. Seeing a lot of new names. So we go live every Monday with a reaction show. Monday morning. We go live every Tuesday morning with this waiver show. Wednesday night is the first time Josh and I take a look ahead. And so our week 12 preview show will be tomorrow night at 9:00. However, we do have another show, a partnership with our Women of Fantasy Football. Sam Holt and Derek Tate go live tonight for Sideline Banner, and they can help you with some of that stuff too. You don't have to just get from me and Josh. I promise you, we only let people come on these airwaves if they're very smart, and Sam and Derek are 2 of the smartest. Who've asked us to say some nice things about Tyler Shugg. I don't have a ton of nice things to say, but what I will say is he's taken what's given to him. He's better at forcing the ball down the field, which can be good for fantasy, but more importantly, he knows how to utilize Olave and Johnson, and I think that matters, Josh.
He's a veteran rookie. That's what I'm saying about Shugg.
Yeah. I don't know how many people know this. I know Hoove knows this. Tyler Shugg completed a pass to what Juwan Johnson at Oregon. I want you to think about that. Juwan Johnson is on like his 3rd contract in the NFL, and Tyler Shugg is a rookie. He completed a pass to him in college football, and now they're on the same team again. Wild. Veteran rookie. Definitely. Niori, this was a debate between me and Josh. I said play it safe and go K9 for the volume. Josh says every time you think that's what's going to happen, they'll give the ball to Zach Charbonnet, so just take JMO and play.
I think JMO is still a good floor play as long as Dan Campbell's calling plays.
That's a good point. Dan Campbell clearly loves him. Michael, full PPR, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, has the number 1 waiver priority. Has Kieran, Dowdle, Chase Brown, Woody Marks, Blake Corum, cuffing season, Isaiah Davis. Do you use number one priority to get Emmanuel Wilson? I don't think you need to on this team. Save the
Yeah,
priority.
I don't think you need to. Not for the number one. Now, if
you're losing it next week,
I was going to say if you had Josh Jacobs,
yeah,
then I would drop Isaiah Davis in a heartbeat and go get Emmanuel Wilson. But no, I don't think you need to.
No. Galaxy, trade RJ Harvey for Tyler Warren immediately. JT, Judkins, Marks, Harvey, tight end is Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, go get Tyler Warren.
Go get Tyler Warren. Suit up for your playoff run. And Zach says, drop Booty or Tez for Christian Watson. I'm fine with Tez for Christian Watson. I'm keeping Kayshon Booty, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping Booty. I'm fine with dropping Tez for Watson.
That wraps up WireTapped. Thank you guys so very much. There's a full article at clubfantasyffl.com. As I mentioned, we will next be live on the website tonight at 9:00, but it's not going to be Josh and I. It's going to be Sam Holt and Derek Tate. Josh and I will be live again tomorrow night for our no pun intended. That is our flagship show every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We may have Joe Zolo with us. We haven't checked yet. We get some DFS shows as we get into Thursday and Friday. We appreciate each and every one of you. Josh is going to answer the last questions in the chat there. But again, we do appreciate you guys for tuning in, riding with us for an hour and a half. We will be live again next Tuesday at 11 to talk waivers and hopefully get you folks into the fantasy playoffs. We will see you next week. Good luck on your waiver claim.